Hello, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with over 40 years experience in the business now and over 30,000 clients worldwide and tens of thousands of students worldwide as well. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this particular video about how to start feeling good enough. Now look, you are a very complex being. And the more videos that I produce, the more I'm able to share with you something of that complexity. Things that you couldn't understand even 3 months ago, now you can understand and relate to. And so I just want you to sit back and relax, and we're going to talk here about a very important topic that has impact upon every single one of us in the human family. But just a little bit about your complexity, first of all, is that you have come into incarnation this time after your last lifetime during the First and Second World War. And that particular war was a massive initiatory process for the whole of the human family. We took gigantic steps forward in the evolution of our consciousness during that particular war, and that war was one war, 1914 to 1945. It went from the physical plane to the emotional plane in between the two wars, but then came back down onto the physical plane in 1939. So you have lived through that, and now you've come back into incarnation and you are ready to take a gigantic step forward in the expansion of your consciousness in this particular lifetime. And you can understand now, because of your heightened intelligence and heightened consciousness, you can understand now more about your complexity than what you could have even 3 months ago. 3 months ago you weren't quite ready to be able to make the changes inside of yourself that you wanted to make. And so on this video I'm going to talk about a very important topic. So yes, it's a very, very exciting time to be alive, because we are able to relate to these massive expansions of consciousness that we've undergone and be able to relate more so now to our complexity, the tremendous complexity that we have inside of ourselves. So you have lived through that period, you have jumped into incarnation again now, and you are ready to pick up where you left off in your last lifetime and take gigantic steps forward in the expansion of your consciousness. So on this particular video we're going to talk about a topic that's very, very close to the heart of all of us. All of us have feelings of struggle and hardship. All of us have feelings of depression. All of us have feelings of not being good enough. And all of us have feelings of not deserving all the good things of life. This is all part and parcel of our complexity. So we are very complex beings. You're not new to personal growth and development. You've been working for years on self-esteem and self-image and personal growth and development and expansion of your consciousness in a variety of different ways. And issues of deserving are certainly right there in the forefront of what you've been dealing with as a complex human being in this current era that we're living through. A very exciting time as we move into the new age of Aquarius. It's an age of enlightenment, and it started in the year 2000. And you have worked it out by now that there are scars from the past that are impacting upon your sense of deserving and your sense of self-esteem, and that impact upon your feelings of not being good enough. You've worked on a variety of techniques to help you to work towards feeling good enough and feeling as if you deserve to have it all and to have less struggle and hardship in your life. But all the work that you do can only take you to a certain point in terms of feeling as if you do deserve to have it all, or at least a fair chunk of it all, and to feel that you are good enough. On this video we're going to work together as a team to fill in the gaps and to at last allow you to feel as if you are good enough and that you do deserve to have it all the good things of life. So on this video we're going to work together as a team to look at this business of feeling good enough or not deserving from a different perspective. And we're going to work with a different dynamic to realize that you cannot earn deserving, that you cannot prove it, and to stop trying to earn it and to prove it, that you do deserve. At looking at the question, why don't I deserve? And to answer that question definitively and once answered, to resolve it, so that you can know at last that you do deserve, that you can know that you are good enough. Not perfect, not the best, but good enough. To find the magic beyond struggle. Beyond struggle there is a magic, a quiet magic of being good enough. And remember, I've described magic as not pulling rabbits out of hats or doing card tricks. Magic is simply the conscious creation of your reality in accordance and compliance with your conscious choices rather than your subconscious choices. We tend to create our reality through our subconscious choices, and they are through our attitudes and beliefs, thoughts and feelings and decisions and choices that are there in the subconscious mind. And that's the energies that are creating all of the events and conditions of our life, most of it subconsciously. We don't realise that we have that power inside of ourselves to take back that power of conscious choice. And we can change those raw materials there, those attitudes, beliefs, thoughts and feelings that sponsor different decisions and choices. So that's what magic is. Not to just stop feeling not good enough and to actually be good enough. Just as struggle is a byproduct of non-deservability, so magic is a byproduct of deservability. When you know that you deserve, the ever-present byproduct is magic. You know how easy it is to struggle, so you can now imagine how easy it is to be magical. If you will just get beyond struggle into the knowing. That's what consciousness expansion is all about, is knowing your complexity and understanding your complexity. Because deep down inside of yourself you've got a lot of power. You've got a lot of power, strength and talent there inside of yourself that's wanting to get out. You've got a lot of goodness, truth and beauty there inside of yourself that wants to come to expression. And it's all held back by the complexity of your consciousness, the complexity of self-esteem and self-image and feelings of not deserving and struggle and hardship and feelings of not being good enough. These feelings, even in your last lifetime, didn't have anywhere near the impact upon you as what they have now, because you've grown, you've expanded, you've become more intelligent, you've become more aware, you've become more conscious. You're on the path of evolution. You are on the cusp of leadership, spiritual leadership in the world. You are a pioneer, you are a map maker. And you are making the maps for others to follow in the years ahead. So don't put yourself down for being so intelligent. Don't put yourself down for being so complex. Don't put yourself down for having such a state of consciousness. That's what you've set yourself up to experience in this life, as all of these feelings of not being good enough, and this struggle and this hardship and this problem with self-esteem and this problem with self-image. You've set yourself up to experience all of that because you wanted to know what your fellow man was going through. So don't think that you came into life to plan an easy life, and because you've got struggle, therefore that's indicative of the fact that you're not evolved. Not at all. And to get there to knowing by looking at it from a new dimension, a different dynamic, and a different level of understanding. And that's what we're going to work together on here on this video, to help you to become more of the giant that you truly are. You are on the crest of the wave of evolution. Make no mistake about that. There are basically 4 dynamics or 4 aspects of this issue of deserving for you to be able to finally say, now I deserve. Now I am good enough. Now I can move beyond struggle and hardship. The first of these dynamics is that deserving comes in waves and hides in pockets. Deservability comes in waves and hides in pockets. What I mean by that is that feelings of not deserving that were instilled and experienced in your consciousness in childhood can also come back again as another wave. Even after you've handled that issue and handled that wave, it can come back as another wave of what happened and the impacts that occurred in your consciousness during your adolescence. And then there's another wave that comes in your young adulthood that gives you feelings of not deserving and not being good enough. There's another wave in your adulthood. So issues of deserving that you may have worked on for decades can then come back as another wave at a particular time in your life, when you're ready to deal with that wave of not deserving. So it's important not to chide yourself and to say, I thought I handled this issue. So maybe you say to yourself, maybe I'm not good enough. This is a different wave that you're working on there. And this will, by the nature of your complexity, be what's happening throughout your whole life, because you will always be working to become more of who you really are. And so therefore you will always continue to be facing these different waves that come upon you and you feel they're not good enough. Struggle and hardship raises its head. Feelings of not deserving raises its head in different ways, in different shapes, in different forms, in different contexts. Why should this always be the case? Because you are always coming home. You never get home. There's no such thing as reaching a level of relative perfection and then that's the end of your growth. You're always becoming more of who you really are. So no matter how much of your higher self that you become, there's always more there for you to become. And so there'll always be that feeling there of, I'm not good enough. Why am I struggling like this? Why am I facing hardship like this? Why do I feel as if I don't deserve? As greater levels of complexity are moved into, you will always alternate between measuring up and not measuring up. That is the nature of growth. As these various waves hit you, they have impact. They tend to be unexpected and they impact upon your sense of balance and equilibrium. You know the truth of what I'm talking about here. You are highly developed. You are very conscious. You are very much aware. You say to yourself many times, why am I so awake, aware and alive as to what's going on around me when everybody else seems to be half asleep? That's because you are a pioneer. You are a map maker. You are on the crest of the wave of evolution. That's why you're watching this video. Now, examples of these type of waves are A. Statements by parents and grandparents such as, you're not good enough, you'll never amount to anything, you'll never measure up to my expectations. You've experienced that in your childhood and your adolescence. And these impacts, of course, also come from siblings who are out perhaps to put you down in order to glow and shine in the eyes of their parents. B. Failed expectations and performance standards. You were supposed to save our marriage for your parents. You were supposed to be the one that was going to keep them together. And you failed. You were supposed to be Daddy's princess, who was going to make him feel like a man. You were supposed to make your mother feel like a woman. These are unspoken demands. You were supposed to be the best kid, the brightest kid, the most lovable kid, and you weren't. You fell short of those standards laid upon you by your parents. Now, 30 or 40 years later, you feel as if you don't deserve. You say to yourself, I failed and I don't deserve. It's a wave that's there and it hits you when the time is ripe to have impact. So these waves of shame are like waves coming in from the shore. They hit you when you're unexpected. They hit you when you're not expecting it. And they do have impact. A third wave of non-deservability are simply natural reactions and instincts to failure in relationships, failure with handling money, failure in the job or the work environment, failure in business, and failures in terms of being on top of your addictive patterns of behaviour of overeating and drugs and alcohol dependence and so forth. The fourth wave that follows on from these three is a very powerful wave and very, very impactful, and that is the power of your secrets and your shame. And you say to yourself, no one knows my secrets, and worse, no one knows my shame. You don't know that I am the one who's responsible for killing the cat. You don't know that I'm the one that's responsible for burning down the house. You don't know what I've done to my sister, or you don't know what I've done to my brother. All the fine talk and support by others are lapped up, but you don't know my secrets and you don't know my shame. Feeling flawed and defective because now you have become an offender. You are passing on your shame to your children through abuse or neglect, or by your habits, addictive patterns of behaviour with overeating or drugs or alcohol. These are all ways that we pass on our shame to our children. Through our gambling and gambling away the family finances, or by cheating on your spouse, the father of those children or the mother of those children, passing on your shame to your children or to your spouse. Another wave of non-deservability is through guilt. Guilt is anger that you feel as if you don't have a right to express. And so instead of expressing it, you expressing that anger, you suppress it. And it has a very short half-life and very quickly turns into resentment. So if you feel that, oh, now I have one on you because I made you feel guilty, well, look out, because it's not long before that guilt is going to turn into resentment. But it also quickly, guilt, turns to non-deservability. Feelings that you don't deserve. Feelings that you're not good enough. Another wave of non-deservability is depression. Depression is gauze-like anger that is layer upon layer upon layer upon layer until eventually it sets in as depression. And you finally say to yourself, why can't I just get on with my life? Maybe I just don't deserve. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Look, I could talk much longer on this particular topic. It's a very, very deep topic, but it's one that impacts heavily upon all of us. All of us have problems with self-esteem. All of us have problems of feeling not good enough. All of us have problems of feeling as if we don't deserve. And all of us experience struggle and hardship. This is all part of the complexity of being a human being in this age that we live through now. And so, where do you go from here? Well, the object of the exercise here of this video and all of my videos and all of my teachings is to help you to understand that you do deserve, that you are good enough. And there's no need for you to have struggle and hardship. It is a way to grow, but it's not the most elegant way for you to grow. So the best way for you to grow is through expansion of your consciousness and the development of wisdom. You can get it all through experience, but you will never get wisdom just through experience. You must have an intake of knowledge as well. You will never get wisdom just through an intake of knowledge, and that's why you've set yourself up with so much experience, so much painful experience, because that led you to the point where you said, I've had enough of this. I am ready to make changes inside of myself on deep levels so that I do understand more about myself and I do understand more about my complexity. And I am ready to make those adjustments and changes about my raw materials, my attitudes and beliefs and thoughts and feelings, so that they will sponsor different choices and different decisions. And you've got to use your imagination and your desire and your expectancy, the tools that mold and shape these raw materials, into better events and conditions in your life. Make no mistake about it, every single event in your life comes from your intent, your purpose, your objective, your function, your design. There's no getting away from the fact that you create your own reality. So because you have that power inside of yourself, you have the power of choice. And I'm here to help you to come to an awareness of that fact, that you have the power of choice. And you have the power to create your reality more in accordance and compliance with your conscious will and your conscious choice, instead of your subconscious will and your subconscious choice through your raw materials, which are defective. All of us come in with all these defective raw materials. We don't come in with a silver platter. We don't come in with a smooth sailing. I've had customers and clients have said to me, why don't I have all of these good aspects in my horoscope? Well, you don't have those good aspects in your horoscope because you wanted to experience all of this struggle and hardship and problems with self-esteem and problems with self-image, because that's the way that you reach and stretch and eventually say, enough. I've had enough. I'm ready now to change. We don't change through harmony and balance. We change through impacts upon our consciousness, and we change through crisis, hardship, struggle, and so forth. And then we have the motivation to make those changes that are necessary. So the way to make the changes inside of yourself is to expand that consciousness. To expand your consciousness about what? Your consciousness about the nature of reality and your place in that reality. By submitting your birth details to my website, www.mysteryofsirius.com, I'm happy to send you your horoscope chart, which tells you a lot about yourself. And you can then know what your rising sign is, not just your sun sign. And that is your soul plan for this particular lifetime, is there in your ascendant and your rising sign and that horoscope. And so you can look at the video that's to do with that particular sign as well as your sun sign. They're both applicable. But because you are so well advanced, the one on your rising sign is much more applicable and powerful and impactful. Don't come down hard on yourself because you've set yourself a lot of tests for this particular lifetime. Don't come down hard on yourself. You're a giant spiritually. You've set up all of these negativities there in your horoscope and all these tests and situations in your life in order to be able to grow and reach and stretch and make this a lifetime that counts. So yes, go to my website, submit your birth details through the Your Horoscope page. I'll then send you 12 CDs out of my book, What Really Matters, a book on astrology, meditation and reincarnation, where I take you in and out of meditation time and time again to help you become more of the giant that you truly are. And horoscope number 2 is only $10, and that tells you where all of your planets are in your horoscope. The sun rules your overall personality, the moon rules your emotions, Mercury rules your mind, Venus your love nature, Mars your energy levels, Jupiter your higher mind, Saturn your practicality and organisational ability, Uranus your intuition, and Neptune your spirituality, and Pluto your capacity to integrate everything and transform yourself. So this is the name of the game. You've set yourself up with a lot of tests because you're ambitious in life. So don't come down hard on yourself and say, oh, why did I set myself up with these sort of situations and these sort of experiences? You did so because you wanted to make this a lifetime that counts. So for only $10 you can get horoscope number 2 done by me, which is 20 pages all about you individually, not just your sun sign and not just your rising sign, where your planets are in the signs, what houses that they sit in your horoscope, what relationships that they form with each other. All of this tells you so much about what tests that you've set for yourself in this lifetime and what qualities, principles and values that you want to develop inside of yourself in this lifetime. So it's time for you to realise that you are a giant spiritually. You have a lot of goodness, truth and beauty inside of yourself that wants to get out. And it's nice to have this opportunity to be able to share this time with you. And I wish you well in that project. Thank you.